We now will move to our next speaker, Dr. Rani Burchmore. She's the Asia Pacific Education Industry Lead, K-12 Strategy, Sales and Program for Microsoft. She's going to speak about the digital transformation of primary and secondary education. Dr. Rani?
First thing that I want to do, hi everyone, thanks for having me here. And today, before I go into the conversation, I have witnessed over the last year or so the incredible work and the adversity that our teachers and our leaders and our educators actually went through. So I always look for an opportunity to thank them. And I want to thank them. I have a 13-year-old, and with the amazing work that these teachers and leaders do, without that, I think things will be a little bit more graver than it is at the moment. So I want to start by thanking all of the wonderful leaders and educators in Indonesia, the teachers who are in the trenches, who bring the knowledge and outcomes no matter the challenge, the conditions, the students, or the tools available. I would also like to thank our Microsoft partners who have made success possible in so many ways in Indonesia through so many challenges that they themselves were facing in the past year. And I think finally it's great to be here at IDEF and the MOE. Thanks for actually organizing events like this for thought leadership, because forums such as this are very vital, in my opinion, for sharing ideas, for nurturing and promoting thought leadership, to bringing all the different stakeholders who are here listening together. Let me just start with a quote from our CEO. Indonesia is a vast melting pot of such opportunities that he talks about, from the many individual islands and the tens and thousands of rural villages to hundreds of cities. This is a land of many communities and many opportunities, and the impact of a proper education and skilling strategy benefits many fold. So each one has its own microculture and its microeconomy, and all of them are ready for local initiatives, innovation, and entrepreneurs to drive the nation forward. So I see this COVID influence and driven education transformation really optimizing on Indonesia, which is rich in potential. With that said, let me start a little bit by sharing, and I know the previous speaker also shared some stuff from India, and I want to sort of bring that to one example from India. The last 12 months has brought us so many lessons. So looking at India, we can learn from some of the recent efforts and their research to identify the key factors to success. If you look at the Brookings.edu study that happened, while lamentable, the disruption to education systems worldwide during COVID-19 offered valuable lessons and provides a unique opportunity to reimagine education, the curriculum as you're talking about today, and pedagogy. So this is like the optimum time, I believe, for us to really go through what all this means. Address the digital divide. Technology has the potential to achieve universal quality of education, which I've heard many of the speakers today talk about, and improve learning outcomes. But in order to unleash its potential, the digital divide and its embedded gender divide must be addressed. Digital capabilities, the required infrastructure and connectivity must reach to the remotest and poorest of communities. Access to technology and the internet is an urgent requirement in the information age. It should no longer be a luxury, it's a necessity, as some of you have shared. Reorient the curriculum. The curriculum must be grounded in students, and it's really heartwarming to listen to the debate and the conversation today, because it really reaffirms what we see across the world. Developing a symbiotic relationship with our environment has taken on a new urgency, and teachers must help students think about their relationship with the universe and everyone and everything in it, and that requires a different way of looking at curriculum, as we've been just talking about. empowering more teachers, the shift to distance learning has afforded many opportunities that we saw in India in this study to teach differently, encouraging self-learning, as the Minister Nadeem shared very early in the session, flipping the way that we think about education, providing opportunities to learn from diverse resources and allowing customized learning for diverse needs through high-tech and low-tech sources. Improving the education system requires a decentralized and democratic community-based approach. And we are seeing that not just in India, but across the world, where the community ownership of education is cultivated, which includes, the parents and the entire community. We are forced, and it's about time to really reimagine how we will solve both the new and the old challenges. So I really love Einstein's quote, right? Often coming from the commercial part of the business, we always love to problem solve, and we love the solutions. But in the era of 2020, the COVID education around the world has forced us to rush into solutions naturally. It's time for us now, though, to spend the necessary thinking to reinvestigate the problems and the challenges, just like Indonesia is doing. What an exemplary thought process that I witnessed this morning for this. What once was a sprint not too long ago is now a marathon of a journey, and the finish line is always moving, as all of us know. So how do we plan for this new journey? So in Microsoft, we look at this journey very holistically. First, let's learn what education transformation is. Education transformation is about reimagining how you bring people together, data, and process together to create value for the stakeholders, right? That's educators, parents, students, etc. And maintain a competitive advantage in the digital first world for the country. Empower students across all demographics with the skills they need to succeed in an AI-enabled world. That's what we are trying to do with education transformation. In Microsoft, we use the education transformation framework, which is not the right answer. It is there as a guide to ask the right questions. I think it's a journey of investigation and discovery with a set of principles to guide our path. Because by finding the right answers to these questions and by applying these principles to our strategy, the education transformation framework can be a guidepost to success. For all of our countries, we are seeing an enormous amount of holistic approach, 360-degree view for transformation, bringing all the stakeholders to the table, getting a clear transformation roadmap, and learning from others' mistakes and successes, right? So we're not reinventing the wheel. So this full framework that we have is applied at different levels, whether it's at the ministry level, coming down, doing workshops and exploring what are the right questions to ask and how to solve problems, or at the Dinas level in Indonesia, at the provincial level, using the same methodology to think and talk about how we can scale adoption and engagement, whilst also thinking about technology interventions and how data is collected, the whole plethora of things. So we use these 16 components for this thought process and workshopping. The leadership and policy is really about embracing a culture of exchange with flexible policies and processes that enable data-driven decisions, delivers an autonomous teaching and learning environment for the students and educators. When we talk about exploring the intelligent environment, we talk about creating creative collaboration in flexible learning spaces, enabling energy-efficient ways of working and providing responsive and coordinated security to keep schools safe. It's very, very important student and school success, a reliable, responsive, data-driven technology environment empowering leaders, educators, and learners to achieve more every day achieve more every day in the modern classroom, whether that classroom is inside a building, it's at home, or it's at a park. And teaching and learning, the flexible future-ready skills teaching curriculum that we talked about just then, that enables educators to personalize learning for students, creating a more tailored experience. So that's how we use the transformation framework as a guide to ask questions so we can do systemic change management. Now, we have done this over the last, months, years, and for Indonesia, we've worked with several of the stakeholders to come up with what a school digital transformation roadmap would look like. It is leveraged at scale. So, we were talking about, all this amazing work that is being done by the ministry and the change management process. How does that then land in every school? Nadeem talked about that this morning, how do we take all of this, and he's reviewing and working out how does that then land at the school principal or the school leader level, and how does that land with the different teachers or that one IT person, if there's an IT person in the school, all the way down to the very remote areas. How does that change land, and how do we provide some sort of equitable access and learning for the students? So this cannot be done on its own. It needs to be done through an ecosystem. So we work with all of the local partners. The reason for me thanking them is during COVID, we had a mobilizing of all of these partners who really wanted to go out there and make sure that there was continued education wherever possible, that went out there and just trained thousands and thousands and thousands of teachers on how to use basic collaboration tools. And now, taking that base and working with the teachers on how to build lesson plans that are catered to all the things that we were talking about just then. So let's look at how all of this is relevant in Indonesia from a Microsoft lens, right? So we heard this morning about Sekolah Penggerak. So I'm going to take a small piece of the many technologies that the ministry is having, and I want to take a small piece of that and then provide a vendor's lens on it. We have excellent leadership. That's it's undeniable. You all are familiar with Guru Penggerak. There are some core pillars in this Guru Penggerak program established by Director General Pak Jumari. I'm going to translate this into English. The Mobilizer Schools program it's an evolution of the Merdeka Belajar. Let's take a look at the fifth pillar specifically in this. And that fifth pillar really talks about collaboration between MOEC with regional government, whereas the commitment of the regional government is the main key. Holistic intervention starting from schools, human resources, learning, planning, digitization, and assisting the regional government. Having scope that cover every school's condition, not only the top schools. So we're trying to get a sense of equity and access. Assistance will take place for 3 academic years in the schools to continue transformation efforts, and programs will be conducted in an integrated ecosystem. So since we are focusing how to test, try, scale of the programs, let's have a look at pillar number 5. So the National School Transformation, this is the pillar that we just went through. Number 1, consultative and asymmetry mentoring assistance to schools. We do change management services through our global training partners and partner network. So we have our feet on the ground, a whole lot of partners who are part of a training program, who we train to be able for the partners from a pedagogical sense, from a technical sense, how to use technology in a classroom environment, how to enable the technology to be used in the first place so that it is working. And that's a partner network that we pull on. Enhancing human resources in schools. We have several programs for empowering educators and leaders with the right tools and support, which I'll talk about in a bit. Learning with the new paradigm, technology integrated lessons. I was asking the minister this morning about Minecraft, learning games, because this really gets excited. There's millions and millions of people who are already using, kids already using Minecraft. How did we take all of that energy and make sure that that's applied in a school level, and also training the teachers how to be able to do that? Database planning, the technologies come together to do telemetry that provides insight into how teachers and students are developing their future-ready skills. And then the school digitization, access to connectivity, deployment, and adoption of the technology that I talked about. So we have mapped all of this. And, the amazing thing is when we try to map and how has stakeholders in Indonesia, we're going to help this strategy. It was we were not surprised, but it aligned with our core principles of what we talk about when we talk about transformation of schools. Almost 98% of it aligned. So when we did this exercise, the accelerated journey started with about 100,000 teachers trained to be able to conduct remote classes, impacting about 3 million students. And by the end of the year, we planned to work with the Director General. We have plans to work with the Director General to impact maybe 350,000 teachers, because the 100,000 teachers that we reached came out of 34 provinces from June to August. 34 provinces where we were doing training with our partners, all directed from Jakarta, and believe it or not, from Asia and Jakarta. So today, we have trained approximately about 1 million teachers to integrate technology in their teaching and learning practices, the things that we talked about just then. How do we do it? There's a question, and again, Minister Nadia mentioned this. It needs to be scalable. It needs to be leveraged. And we run events to bring a community together for these teachers. So the annual global event that connects the classrooms from all over the world with one another, technology experts and IT professionals, giving an out of the classroom experience. So this is like a fun exercise. Every one of us in Microsoft participates across the world to bring schools together, schools in Indonesia to meet somebody in the US, or schools from Myanmar to have a talk to somebody in Sri Lanka. The connection and the relationships that form and the community that is created really allows our teachers and our students to sort of think outside the box and look outside the box and be outside the box. And this then creates a community of how do I problem solve, how do I achieve this or that, and who can I talk to? So it's an amazing program that we see. Indonesian schools. We had over 250 schools and 12,500 students in Indonesia participate, and they participated in 10 different countries, providing the huge networking opportunity that I mentioned. The next thing about Minecraft, you see the Minecraft there. Believe it or not, this is awesome. We had a student from Indonesia who was the winner for Asia Pacific coding competition using Minecraft education edition in the world stage. So we always know that there is enormous appetite to increase the activity and the energy in the classrooms. So the training on the Minecraft for education programs for teachers will be started this year in 2021. So we are moving to make sure that all of the teachers have an opportunity to actually learn how to use Minecraft and how to create lessons. And it's not just about coding. I'll give you an example. In Korea, the Minecraft world was used to do graduations. In New Zealand, the Minecraft worlds were used to create cultural studies on the nuances of and also the social and emotional learning component. So it is not just about the coding aspect, it is about using a fun environment to create lessons and also assessments by watching and doing with the students and the teachers. We also have, we in Indonesia, we run the Education Exchange, which is the annual event to celebrate the most innovative teachers and educator leaders across Indonesia. I think these are all really, really critical components because to create the community means to then create excitement and enthusiasm. Now, I said earlier, when we looked at the Mobilizer Schools plan and we looked at our Showcase Schools plan, it was amazing because it was 100%, 98% aligned. So we have been able to do the alignment as part of becoming a Showcase School because we do quite a lot of training for across. This is our engagement programs where we go out there with our teachers. And just so for everybody's knowledge, all of the tools in what we use in Microsoft, all the tools that you're seeing on that screen is at no cost. So the provinces actually engage with us to say, all right, let's go and deploy this out to everyone. And we do the deployment for the provinces. And then at the school level, what we are providing them after doing that is school leadership workshops, and this is the change management. How do you think about your school and how you manage and how you take care of your teachers and how you think about the PD? So there was a point made earlier today that it is really important to find those innovative leaders who may not be necessarily sitting in a very well-equipped school, but who wants to transform the way the teaching and how the lessons are conducted, how we include social and emotional learning, how do we think about the whole person when we are teaching them any subject for that matter. So, and then we go through the culture of learning and growth. This is part and parcel of the workshops that we do with the leaders and the teachers. And then we talk to them and we help them personalize the learning and the inclusion components. For those of you who don't know, one of my favorite things is the Immersive Reader. So the Immersive Reader allows for students with challenges to be able to, whether they're dyslexic or, it allows them to focus on what they're doing, and it's done in such a fun way. The Immersive Reader is one of the technologies that is, comes at no cost with our portfolio of products like Minecraft as well as the portfolio of our products, so that we take care of all the students, as much as we can who need that additional help. And we talk about future-ready skills, computational skills, we talk about problem-solving skills, all of those things that all of you have been talking about. We have a series of lessons, courses, and we are really talking about how to handle, the different level of attention that a student needs in the classroom. From how do you bring the learning process into the classroom so we don't leave anyone behind in the classroom. All of these are skills that we provide to the teachers. Maths and science and all of that is almost mostly taken care of. It's all the in between, the gel, the glue that needs to bring all of that in a sustainable and a meaningful way for the students is what we are trying to do here. And then we do data-driven decisions. As part of the portfolio, the schools and the regions actually have access to Power BI dashboards and to look at data the way that they want, to see if they can assess how students, what other interventions they need to make when it comes to teacher development and adoption and usage. Now, learning impact is enabled by the suite of stuff that you are seeing there. So let me just talk a little bit about what support. I talked very much about all the different things. When we say support, we are really trying to do is capacity building for leaders and teachers, digital transformation guidance, and access to a whole lot of courses and latest research based on latest research. when we say recognition, we are really talking about making sure that the teachers and the leaders who are going through the transformation process are really proud and they're recognized, and you know, they can showcase what they're doing to build a network, to enthuse everyone else to follow and learn. The next thing we talk about is impact. The impact is really about, believe it or not, this group of schools and teachers also give us input on how technology can evolve to do things better for them. They innovate. It's amazing. A lot of the amazing tools that you see, whether it's an inclusion tool or, you know, how do I present something but make it fun? A lot of the Minecraft character, you know, specs and requirements and characteristics that come out are from a lot of our teachers who are providing us, working through the lesson plans and say, you know, I really want to make sure that this is easier. So I think that they contribute to us, they contribute to the other schools around the world. And as the quote said, it's building community engagement. And they also increase the influence when we, you know, celebrate the innovators amongst our teacher population. And lastly, you know, building that community to make sure that we talked about it again today. How do we build a community so that the teachers don't feel like they are alone on the journey? How can they leverage other lesson plans that has been made? So we've got the Microsoft Educator community site, and we've got thousands and thousands of teachers from Indonesia who are part of that, so they can actually collaborate with teachers, not just from their province and the province outside, but also outside of the country with other schools and other teachers. And this is the great way for the leaders to share insights and best practices. So let me tell you what is next for us. Because I'm really only talking about, you know, this component of how do we land the showcase school or school, how do we land it in the schools? We are officially working with several of the deans already to be able to help them deploy the right technology in the schools, train the teachers and the school leaders at the school level, and also use a programmatic way so that they are part of a community. What you are seeing here is, you know, Senjai, Ponorogo, Jawa Tengah, Papua, Surabaya. So we are in the process of making sure that we are inviting any province that is looking at this today to reach out to us, because this is part of Microsoft's mission to be able to empower every student and teacher in the world to do more. So as part of a mission, these activities that we do has really comes together, and not just by ourselves, but a whole partner ecosystem, those folks that we train to go and make this happen in the field. So collaboration is not just at the ministerial level. We all have already created these partnerships. So the institutions to bring the tailored localized solution for their communities. So in some cases, we are redeveloping what is norm to take into nuances of differences in the community. And approximately 380,000 teachers and 6.5 million students impact from just this relationship. I just wanted to put it out there. Thank you, Sachin. And I want to say thank you to everyone, because I think you know, none of this is possible by us if the country itself isn't willing to transform. And we've had those instances as well. So I just think it is awesome for the partnership and the trust that has been put with us. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate it. And please contact me, and you can see Obit on the call as well if you've got any questions for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rani. That was a very inspiring presentation, and I think you can clearly see the amount of engagement from the private sector with not just the ministry, as you say, but the entire educational ecosystem in Indonesia. So thank you very much for that